And welcome to the Asset Preservation Hour. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Stewart Willis and Judd Carlson. They're the co-founders of Asset Preservation Tax and Retirement Services. Stewart, how are you today?
I'm doing amazing. How are you doing this morning?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much. Judd, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. How are you, Cynthia?
I am doing fantastic, and I'm so excited about today's show. So let's go over the topics that we're going to be discussing. We're going to go over the Secure Act. We're going to go over Roth conversions, and we're going to go over lump sum pension options. These are great topics for the viewers at home because I know they're going to have a lot of questions about all three of those items. So, Stewart, let me ask you, let's go right off the bat and talk about the Secure Act. Are there any changes that we should be aware of right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, the Secure Act was passed at the end of 2019, and it made some pretty major changes to the way certain things are handled. When Judd and I were actually back in Washington, D.C., we had conferences with both of our senator staffs and a couple of our local congressmen with Dave Schweikert here in Scottsdale, Debbie Lesko over on the West Valley, where our West Valley office is, and then Andy Bigstaff here in Chandler as well. And we really wanted to push forward a couple items on their agenda, and one of them was the Secure Act. And one of the things that the Secure Act did that was beneficial is that it delayed required minimum distributions from age 70 and a half to age 72. And you know, a lot of people like the fact that they're not forced into these distributions right away. But we did give up a few things. And, you know, we were obviously lobbying for the things that would benefit our clients the most. But there were a few things, you know, because remember, it's a trade-off. It's always about you give and take between the two different parties, and the Democrats wanted to make sure that big IRAs were having to be distributed quicker, so that it would force higher taxes, obviously, to beneficiaries. So what's changed, Cynthia, is the way that IRAs are being distributed. So there used to be something called the Stretch IRA, and what the Stretch IRA was a program that allowed non-spouse beneficiaries to take their benefit over their lifetime. So like your kids, for example, would be able to turn your IRA essentially into their IRA with very small minimum distributions, you know, over their life expectancy. Now, that was changed. The Secure Act changed that from a lifetime payout to a 10-year payout. Now, Democrats wanted a 5-year payout to make sure it accelerated it, but we were able to get it to 10 years rather than 5 years. So, you know, I know we had a small part in that, but, you know, I'm pretty proud of our involvement.
Absolutely. Well, Stewart, thank you so much. Judd, let me ask you a question. What about the Secure Act 2.0?
Well, yeah. So, you know, one of the things that I wanted to touch on real quick was, so if anybody is tuning in for the first time, or if you're someone who caught the show previously, you know, one of the questions would be, hey, why do I want to listen to these guys? And so one of the things that I always like to share is that if you understand where our company and our business came from, it kind of lets you know where we're going with this information, and again, why we're a little different. The big piece is we were started as a way to provide affordable estate planning to the masses back in 1997. And then along the way in 2005, we added the tax practice. So again, able to serve those clients on the estate planning and with their taxes. And then in 2008, we added the fiduciary portion with the securities and investments. In 2013, we started to put a bigger focus on retirement income, Social Security options, but really just trying to plan people from pre-retirement all the way through the rest of their lives and do it in a very tax-efficient manner. And then over the last couple of years, obviously, we've expanded into multiple offices around the Valley, and again, just trying to make it a one-stop shop where people can get those questions answered.
I love that, Judd, and I want to add to that just a little bit because I think it's amazing. I know how busy you both are, and what we've heard from one client after the next is that you always make them feel like that is your only client. You devote your time specifically to that person in front of you. So, Judd, how do you do that?
Well, again, it's about carving out that time. Stewart and I have always promised that we're going to spend the time with our clients. So we have a pretty sizable administrative staff that helps coordinate our calendars and a lot of the paperwork and other stuff that we do, but it gives us that time. The other piece is, we are both terrible golfers. We spend a lot of time in the office. We work for our clients. It's not uncommon, 6 days, even 7 days a week that we spend. So we want to make that time for them. But, again, everybody's going to be unique. We want you to know that it's not a cookie cutter formula, and we want to have that time together. Back to your original question on the Secure Act 2.0,
okay.
And this is part of what we want people to realize. We always talk tax planning is a year-round thing. It's not during tax season or just in December. So the Secure Act 2.0 has made it through the Ways and Means Commission. They're looking at this bill, and the idea is they want to push back RMDs again. But of course, in true government fashion, rather than making it easy and moving everybody to 75, they're going to have a staggered time frame where if you happen to turn 72 between 2022 and 2027, then you're going to start at age 73. And if you happen to turn 72 between 2028 and 2029, you'll start at 74. And then, of course, if you turn in 2030 or later, you're going to start at 75.
That's a lot to remember.
So what that's going to do for us is that opens up the window for a later discussion about Roth conversions and Roth planning, which I know Stewart's going to talk about a little later on here. The other two quick pieces, and again, if your advisor or your tax person is not bringing these to your attention, then you need to work with someone who does. But they are expanding the provisions of the QLAC, which is a strategy for some of those higher net worth people or folks that have large IRAs but don't need the required minimum distribution money to live off of, and they don't want to pay the taxes on it. So a QLAC is a strategy to look at. And then they're going to be changing the contribution limits that are out there for 401k plans and simple plans. If you're between the ages of 62 and 64, you're going to have the ability to make a much larger catch-up contribution. Currently, you can add an extra $6,500 to your 401k. They're going to increase that to $10,000 per year above the normal amounts. So some great options out there. Again, minimize those taxes, grow your wealth, a lot of different strategies to be had.
I love that. And this is such timely information to the viewers at home, because I know they have a lot of questions about these things. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for definitely tapping into that today. Stewart, you have a special offer to the viewers at home. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that is before we go to the first commercial break?
Absolutely. So what we're offering today, if you just give us a call at 833-652-7829, what we're doing for the first 10 callers today is offering a complimentary portfolio review. And in that portfolio review, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at all your expenses, any tax implications that we're concerned about in the future. And I don't mean taxes right now. We're talking about taxes over your lifetime. We'll take a look at any sort of diversification issues and so forth. Just give us a call at 833-652-7829. We'd be glad to give you a second opinion on your current portfolio.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Stewart, because a second opinion, we've talked about that in the past. It's so vital to have a fresh set of eyes, take a look at what someone currently has in place, because they could be missing something that's very vital and very important.
Absolutely.
All right. Gentlemen, let's go ahead and open up the phone lines. To the viewers at home, the phone lines are now open. That number to call is 833-652-7829. If you have any questions about how to retire comfortably, retire with confidence, Stewart and Judd are offering you a complimentary consultation. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call 833-652-7829. We have to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. We have so much more when we return.
What happens oftentimes is we'll run into clients or potential clients that have saved all this money, but they're 75, 80 years old. They've got this big pile of money, but they're not enjoying retirement because they're so worried about running out of money that they never actually get to enjoy their life's work. And so, to me, it's really rewarding to be able to create a plan so that these people can have a great time in retirement, knowing that they're not going to run out, that they're going to be fine. I think it brings a smile to their face.
We get a lot of different people at a lot of different stages in their lives. And what we're able to do is, for some folks, it's able to tell them that you're on track. Keep doing what you're doing, and 15 years from now, you'll be retired and enjoying life the way you want it to be. For some people, it's people coming in and they're 3 to 5 years away from retirement, and you're able to tell them that, 5 years, 3 years, tomorrow, you're ready to go.
We are a complete shop. We handle estate planning, taxes, financial planning. We do a really in-depth cash flow analysis that is way more detailed than you'll see in the market.
Everything all in one spot, with the left hand always knowing what the right hand's doing. Because it's not just about the investments, but how's that going to affect your taxes? It's not where are you going to be 5 years from now, 15 years from now. And it's that back and forth full view of what the clients, not only today, but tomorrow and their legacy down the road is going to be, that really sets us apart.
And welcome back to the Asset Preservation Hour. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Stewart Willis and Judd Carlson. They're the co-founders of Asset Preservation Tax and Retirement Services. Gentlemen, a great show that we're having. And once again, I just have to ask you, Stewart, I'm going to direct this question to you. What sets your firm apart from many other advisors in the area? What makes you so unique and special?
Sure. Well, what I would say is that what makes us different is that we take a complete view of a client's situation. And I think, there's a few things that really are important when you look for a financial advisor. And I think that our firm locally has had a pretty big impact on what those things are that you should look for. So number one, most importantly, you want to make sure that your advisor is a true fiduciary. Mm-hmm. And what a fiduciary is a fiduciary is an advisor that works for you. They're paid by you via fees. Now, I know fees sound like a bad word, but just remember, everybody gets paid in this business. It's just really important to make sure that you understand how they're paid, because if your belief is that your advisor's not making money on your account because they just really like you, you're fooling yourself. Mm-hmm. You need to understand. Now, the reason that's important is to make sure that when they make decisions for you, they're doing it in your best interest. So number one, fiduciary. Number two, to make sure that your advisor is independent. And by independent, like we are at Asset Preservation, independence means that we're not beholden to a certain group of funds or a certain money manager. We have access to tons of money managers. We have the ability to choose what we believe are the best products, the best portfolios, etc. There's nobody telling Judd and I that we have quotas to meet or certain production numbers that we need to meet. We set our own pace. We have there's no awards to me. I'm not going to give myself an award for being the top advisor in my company. There's none of that there. Number three, to make sure that you're dealing with a holistic planner. And by holistic planner, Cynthia, what I mean by that is that we look at taxes, we look at investments and portfolios, we look at estate planning, we look at all facets of financial planning, including cash flow analysis. Judd does a lot of the cash flow analysis for us, where we take a look to make sure, people's big concern is to make sure whether or not their money's going to last over their lifetime. Well, we're going to show you that. If you're one of our financial clients, what we're going to do is we're going to do a really complete financial analysis for you to show you that. So it's super important. And number four, what you look for in a financial advisor is our concierge service. Now, by concierge service, Judd alluded to it earlier, we have a big staff of an administrative staff. Now, Judd jokingly calls me a prima donna of financial advisors, but all I do with are you saying that still or no?
I'm still saying that I'm not going to give you an award for the top salesperson in our office either. Right? That's how I was thinking of.
I get it. Well, I've asked for it actually, but he will not give it. The concierge service that we have, what I mean by that is that, listen, I have a staff that handles all of our transfers, all of our servicing stuff. What I do And what I only do, I don't do paperwork, I don't do any of that stuff. What I do is I spend my time with my clients because, once again, I enjoy the people I work with.
Yeah.
I surround myself with clients that I like. And I jokingly tell people all the time, I am exactly the same person in person that I am on this TV show. Little goofy sometimes, but usually pretty fun. And if you don't like me, go ahead and call Judd, because you may like him. I don't know, but no, it's super important to have all of those aspects there. So once again, a fiduciary advisor, independent advisor, a holistic planner, and the concierge service. Super important, and I think that's what separates us from most others.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned something about cash flow. Let's talk a little bit deeper about that, Judd. What is cash flow analysis, if you will?
Yeah, so what we'll do is we basically take the client's current expenses, we look at their income now, their future income. We want to build in those bucket list items, wish list items, but we put everything together. And the first piece is we're going to dumb down the good stuff, the rates of return and all those things, any type of a COLA adjustment that would help you. We're going to dumb that down. And then we look at those expenses, we add a little extra onto it, and we use an extra high or a higher than normal inflationary rate that we're going to compound each and every year. And the thought process behind that is, if we overestimate inflation and expenses, underestimate the performance, and you do not run out of money, that's a success.
Sure.
And then the next piece from there is we're going to analyze your taxes. Do your taxes go up over time? Can that be avoided? Are there some strategies to do that? I know we're going to talk about Roth conversions a little later on in here, but the idea is they walk out of there knowing with that cash flow, A, I'm not going to run out of money. B, how much am I going to leave to my family or my legacy, if that's what one of your goals is? And then the last piece is, how much are you going to pay in taxes? And are there some ways to get around that to obviously enjoy the money more yourself or pass more on to your family? And that's really what the cash flow analysis does for them.
I love that. That's great. It's so important to know, because obviously these are areas of expertise that you gentlemen share with your clients, and they just, haven't found that elsewhere, if you will. Stewart, I have to ask you, who is your ideal client? Who works best with you?
Well, our ideal client is someone that actually wants help, right? We're not looking for people that are trying to educate us on, why they're geniuses in their cryptocurrency portfolios, right? And listen, I think what's happened is, and I'm speaking to you, by the way, no, we have clients. Just put things into perspective. The market's done incredibly well over the last decade. A lot of people have made a lot of money. We get that. Most people believe that we're closer to the end of this market than we are to the beginning. And we're looking for the clients, Cynthia, that realize, hey, you know what? This isn't going to last forever. Things are about to change here. As taxes start to go up, we need to have a plan. And we want to deal with clients that are approaching retirement over the next few years, people that have created a life savings that they're proud of, that they really want help with. We are not for the 20-year-old person that's just starting out. And listen, with the best thing that they can do, buy the S&P 500 fund for most people. Don't pay a ton of fees and management. It's just time to hit the gas. What we do with our clients is we really manage risk well. Okay. And there are tons of those different risks that we manage. It's just super important to have a complete plan and to manage all of those different kinds of risk.
I can't imagine going into retirement without a plan, Stewart. Judd, you have a very special offer to the viewers at home today. Do you want to talk a little bit about that before we reopen the phone lines?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Cynthia. So for the first 10 callers today, if you call 833-652-7829, Stewart and I are going to sit down with you, take a look at everything that you've got, answer all your questions, and basically let you know where you're at, what adjustments you could make. And as we always say, there's no cost or obligation to this. If you're someone who's in a great spot, then we will let you know that. If you have some changes that need to be made, we will share those with you as well. Obviously, we'd like to be the ones to help you fix those down the road, but that's not a requirement. We always say leave your checkbook at home. There's no cost or obligation to that. And again, it's your time. The more information you bring into us, the more we can do for you. We do have some clients between the taxes and the investments that we need to sit down a second time to actually share that analysis, and there is no cost for that second appointment either. So again, come in, get that that second opinion, 833-652-7829, and we look forward to seeing you at the office.
Judd, thank you so much. Stewart, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, the phone lines are now open. That number to call is 833-652-7829. If you have questions about how to retire comfortably, Stewart and Judd are offering you the complimentary consultation. All you have to do today is pick up the phone and call 833-652-7829. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're actually going to talk a little bit more in detail about Roth conversions. You're not going to want to miss this. We'll be right back.
This is the story of how you get from here to there. Right now you're here, but in the future, you want to be there. And from here, there looks pretty good. But so few get to there. Why? Well, of those who do make it, some will have luck, but most will have a strategy. They will save and invest, grow and protect, and they will work with advisors who will help guide their way. If you're looking to get somewhere, to get there, we know how to set a course. It's what we do, and we do it well. We're investment specialists, retirement advisors, insurance experts, and financial planners. We have innovative wealth tracking tools to monitor your progress every step of the way. Wherever you are now, we can help you get to where you want to be. The road between here to there is shorter for those who know the way.
And welcome back to the Asset Preservation Hour. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Stewart Willis and Judd Carlson. They're the co-founders of Asset Preservation Tax and Retirement Services. Gentlemen, a great show that we're having today, obviously talking about such an important topic, planning properly for retirement. So Stewart, I have to ask you, Roth conversions, that's like the biggest buzzword right now, Roth. So let's talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. Do they fit everyone, the Roth conversion aspect?
Well, you know, the thing about Roth is that there's a couple different ways you can accomplish getting a Roth or having a Roth. You know, there's Roth contribution, and then there's Roth conversion. Now, we have a lot of people that'll come in, you know, high net worth individuals, high income individuals that realize that they're not eligible to contribute into a Roth because there's certain income limitations that prohibit you from, you know, adding into that if your incomes exceed certain thresholds. The reality is that, you know, conversions, there is no limit. You're allowed to convert as much as you want, regardless of what you make. The important thing, though, is to understand that there's certain pitfalls in the way. So you don't just want to go willy-nilly guessing at how much to convert and when to convert. It's really important to make sure that you have an advisor that understands tax. And as you know, Cynthia, we have a tax office at Asset Preservation. Yeah. We finished 720 or 750 tax returns this year.
Oh my gosh.
And listen, it is a nightmare. It's a lot of work.
Yes.
And I like to visit with all of my clients too. Judd doesn't like it so much, but you know, I enjoy my clients. No, but it's really important. And the reason we have our tax office is not tax preparation per se. It's about tax planning, about making sure that we understand their tax situations. So once we have all of their tax data inside our software, you know, towards the end of the year when we do our Roth conversions, we can say, hey, what is the effect of $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 or $50,000 or $200,000 of Roth conversion this year? And we don't have to guess at it. Like the outcome is understood as we do these things. Now, don't get me wrong. We have a lot of clients that just don't want to pay the tax bill now, right? Even, you know, they would much rather, they're more scared of tax cost than they are the market going down, which is sometimes irrational. But, you know, we recently had a client that really got the sticker shock of some pretty big capital gains, but we did it at today's rate. Remember, we are in the most efficient tax window in history right now. And everybody knows that's about to change. We all know it's changing. And so if you don't consider the entire range of options available to you from a tax plan, a financial plan, all of those things, look at Roth conversions. Does it make sense or does it not? What are the upsides and downsides? If you don't consider all those things and your financial advisor isn't presenting those things to you, it's a huge problem. You're not getting the whole story, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Judd, are you finding that a lot of people are not talking about taxes? Like, excuse me, they're just not even bringing it up, like if they're working with another advisor, if you will?
Yeah, typically a lot of people either have a tax person or they have a financial advisor, but they're not the same entity or same person. So again, some of that comes back to they lack the knowledge. Some of that comes back to in certain financial advisors, the way their broker-dealer relationship's set up, they are not allowed to discuss those kind of things. So yeah, I would say typically it's a little bit like the old classroom game of telephone, where you talk to your financial guy, he tells you to talk to your tax person, they talk to their tax person. It kind of goes back and forth, but they don't really grasp. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. And so that's one of the pieces that we've always tried to put in place. And Stewart even shared it there where, we'll get clients who come in who are not tax clients of ours, but we will get their copy of their prior year's taxes. We will put it through our software, just like we had done it. And then when it comes down to spending that time and making those recommendations, we're using real data. We're using their actual numbers, not just guesstimating, hey, convert this much or do that much. We know exactly what those implications are going to be. And again, even though tax planning is a year-round setup, we tend to wait until November and December to actually implement those plans. But again, if you don't know what you're going to do ahead of time, it's tough to scramble when the tax laws change.
Absolutely. Stewart, for someone who's in the viewing audience today, perhaps they're wondering if they should pick up the phone or not. What advice do you have for them?
Well, the one thing that I would say is that you need to not be afraid of taxes, right? If you have a plan, we can fight it head on here. We can have a real plan, because let me just tell you, you've worked your entire life to put this money away. And what you don't want to do is have this big pile of money and never actually get to enjoy it. And so if you want to enjoy your money, you want to have a plan. You want to be, comfortable spending it, because people are afraid. People are afraid to run out of money, right? But for some reason, they're also afraid of these taxes, because their advisors never talk to them about it. So what we just say is, if you want to squeeze the nectar out of life and just enjoy the heck out of every day you have left, and to go take those trips you want to take and not just show off your portfolio to your neighbors, then give us a call. Just give us a call at 833-652-7829, and I'd be way more than happy to have us sit down and talk with you about your financial plan.
Judd, we have less than a minute left of the show. Do you want to tell the viewing audience what they can expect to receive one more time before we close?
Absolutely. Thank you, Cynthia. So if you call 833-652-7829, we're going to sit down. We're going to give you a full-blown review of everything that you've got, everything that you bring in for us, taxes, fees, market risk. If you have questions, we've got the answers and solutions for you.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, thank you so much for spending time with us again this week. We do have a cliffhanger for next week. We're going to talk about the lump sum pension option. We didn't get to that today. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We will see you back here 1 week from today. Thank you for watching.